All right, guys. Well, thank you all for jumping on. Another live Q&A while we're on lockdown out here on the quarantine. Just hanging out. Spent the whole day working. Actually been working on the merch line. We got some RFMX merch coming out, and we got RFMX, and we got some merch coming out on me and my wife do a ministry. We have another page on YouTube called Ronnie and Mel. It's all about our faith. So we have merch coming out on that side, and we have merch coming out on the RFMX side. And I spent the whole day on the computer working on designs, getting all that stuff done. So I was working right up until the time that I had to come jump on here, and I was starving. So that's why I was late. I ran downstairs, tried to eat something real quick, and then ran up here and was trying to sit up last minute. So I'm sitting at my wife's desk. This is her little spot. So it's it got really cold here in Kansas. Like, it was seriously like super nice. And then all of a sudden winter showed back up, and it was seriously like back in the 30s. And it was freezing. I usually want to sit out in the garage and hang out by the bikes and talk to you guys, but it was way too cold to be in the garage. So I'm like, I guess I'm hanging out on my wife's desk. So up here kicking it. What up from Wisconsin? What up, Lucas, Blake, Logan? I see all you guys. Yes, merch will ship for Seek One. Merch is going to ship. We're going to ship worldwide. So hopefully you guys will be able to get it. Anybody wants anything, either merch on either side, it'll ship worldwide. So should be able to get you guys it to New Zealand and anywhere else you guys want to get it. Yeah, Jack, Brian Deegan sent me. Deegan gave us a shout out a couple weeks ago on his page. Sent a lot of people over here. So everyone that's came over from the Deegan 38 page, thank you guys. Big shout out for Deegan for sending you guys. And thanks for coming. Thanks for subscribing. We're going to be doing these live Q&As. One to two, probably like every other week. I don't want to do too many. Every other week, probably try to sneak one in. At least one a month, bare minimum. But most of the page, I'm going to try to do vlogs, behind the scene, riding days, doing that stuff. But I really want to give you guys helpful stuff. And that's kind of why I'm doing these live Q&As. If you guys can ask me questions about anything, I can talk about me, talk about my career, talk about my faith. But I really like to ask questions that'll help you guys. Like, if you guys want to know about bike setup, you want to know about riding, you want to know about freestyle, anything that's helpful for you guys, that's really why I do this. Kind of call this Advice with Fights. Come hang out. I'll give you the best advice I can on motocross, freestyle, training, diet, whatever I've learned through my career and life. That's why I want to do this and share this with you guys. And that's one thing about on my page that I want to do. I want to make my page not just about checking into the back and like looking at my life and saying, hey, here it is, this is what I want to do. I'll give you a little bit of that. It's cool, make it personal, kind of see what life looks like now after I'm retired in the 40s. And not competing anymore, but I want to be able to share with you guys all the stuff that I've learned over the years. So that's why I'm going to be doing a lot of how-to videos. A lot of it's going to be on riding techniques. I'm kicking off doing motocross schools and coaching this year. Well, right now with the quarantine, I'm kind of waiting until we get like a little bit of a green light. I have my first class planned for next month, and I still might be able to pull it because I'm only doing semi-private classes, private and semi-private. I'm not doing big classes right now. I want small classes so I can really spend time with each rider. So 5 is my number. After 5, I cut it off because I want to be able to just spend more time with people and give people more attention. So that's why I want to do a smaller class. But if everything goes right and we can still do it, do the social distancing, and still have 5 guys come to class. We might do one at the end of May, but it's kind of up in the air right now. But if not, hopefully June. Do one a month right now through the rest of the warm months here in Kansas. But definitely. So if you guys want to start sending in some questions, like I said, anything that I can help with. If you got questions that I would love to just help. Like, what can I share with you guys that might be helpful for you guys? And if you want to just talk about random stuff, career, whatever, I'm cool with that. Whatever you guys want to chat about, but I really like to be able to share just some helpful stuff with you guys. So, Scott Taylor, we got, try to say what up to everybody. A lot of people in here tonight, man. 49. Thank you guys for coming. It's cool to see so many people jumping in here. I say, so where the class is at? Jeremy's saying where the class is at. Right now, I'm in Kansas, so the classes are going to just be right here. I'm in the Midwest. And for now, like I said, it's the first year I'm starting this. I'm going to do 1 class a month, semi-private class, 5 riders max. I'm going to cut it off at 5. So they'll probably fill up fast. If they start filling up fast, I'm going to start to break it to where I'll do 5 small bikes on a Saturday and then 5 big bikes on a Sunday and just split it up. But for right now, I'm just going to start with 1 class a month, and it'll probably be small bikes, big bikes. Right here in Kansas, I got a couple friends, got 2 buddies that have private tracks. and they're both cool enough to let me do classes at their track. So I'm gonna be doing it there. And the goal is, if things go well, when I do get time to go back to California and visit all my friends back in Cali, I'm planning on trying to set a date and just go to Paula and then bring out 2 to 5 students and just meet them out at Paula and or Fox Raceway. Dog scratching at the door, wants to come in and hang out with us. And that way, when I'm out in Cali, I can reach out to people that are out there on the West Coast, and then I'll just come meet you guys at the track, and then we'll be able to do that at the track. So for now, they're here in Kansas, but they'll also be in California in the future. So if you guys are close, I would love for you guys to come out. And like I said, these classes are going to be really geared. Like I would train anybody on any level, but I'm really looking at, because I just know how important it is to get coaching. I think we all need coaching regardless of how good you are. The best guys in the world have coaches. Everyone has coaches in motocross, the best guys. But I think it's really important so I want to be targeting the beginner rider, the novice, the early intermediate, because I think it's so important to get coaching sooner than later. Because what happens in moto is, when you do things for a long time, you build a habit of doing them wrong, and then it makes it harder to break the habit because you did it the wrong way for so long. So it's easier to, when you're just getting started, if you're in those early years of riding, you're in that novice class, you're in the beginner class, early intermediate, you're still pretty new to the sport, it's good to get coaching and learn the correct way, body position, throttle, clutch control, braking. Learn it soon and break the old habits. Like, I was lucky enough, I went to motocross school. So I started racing in 1989. I think my dad took me to motocross school in 1990. Big Feist is on here. I believe that's true. So 1 year later, after starting riding, I got to a motocross school. And you could comment to my dad on here. It made such a big difference. I went from, like, seriously back of the pack, no style whatsoever, like the worst form, making mistakes all the time, crashing all the time, going to motocross school, learning the right technique, and within a year of practicing everything that I learned at class, I went straight to the front of my class and started winning my district. So it made a huge difference. So now that I'm retired and I'm not competing and traveling around the world, I have more free time. And now I feel like it's time for me to share and give back to the sport that gave me, like, this sport's giving me everything. It's giving me my dream. If I don't travel around the world with my friends, do what I love, now it's time for me to give back to the sport that's given me so much. So that's why I'm doing it. At the end of the day, I want to help people get better at what they love and share the same passion that I share, riding dirt bikes, because that's what we love. That's why we are all on here. I bet everybody on here is a dirt bike lover, and that's what so let's help each other get better at riding dirt bikes. So what do we got here? So let's see, Big Feist giving a thumbs up, and this thing's going fast. A lot of people sending in comments, so I might skip some of your guys' questions. So someone's saying, how do I get support? And I'm assuming that is Brody asking about how to get support, how to get sponsorships. I mean, what's cool about these days about getting support is we got social media. So you really can build a social media following. And what's cool is all the companies are on social media. So what you can do is post a lot on social media, get a good following. But even if you don't have a huge following and you're just building your following, you have access to all those companies. DM them. I DM companies still today and be like, yo, what up? Hit them up. Send them a DM and be like, hey, who's your marketing guy? Are you guys doing any type of sponsorship? Just start DMing people, and then they're going to say, hey, email so-and-so, and they'll give you an email. And then you'll email that person, ask them what their sponsorship program is they're bringing on people, and then they'll say, hey, we're not bringing on someone, or hey, yeah, we are doing this, and this is what we were able to offer. What's your plans? And then you can kind of give them your little resume and do everything. Like, it's super easy with social media. Like, when I was coming up, we didn't have that. Like, you really had to send the real resume. Like, my dad used to make them with me. You send resumes to companies and wait for them to write you back. But these days, it's so easy access with social media. I would just start hitting people up and realize social media is the perfect way to get noticed. So build your pages, like post videos, post photos, and just get out there. Do a YouTube page. You should be on every single platform. If you're trying to get noticed, be on every single platform there is. Post a lot. The more you post, the more you get noticed. And I look at it like this. Anyone with skills these days is going to get noticed eventually. So if you're good at what you do and you're actively on all the pages and people are seeing you, it's just a matter of time before deals start falling your way. So I would say that. Go out, just start DMing some people. So I'm assuming it says, what is the most common bad habit you see? And this is from Jeremy, my dog sneaking in here. Hey, she's scratching the door and she bumped her way in. But I'm thinking about, I'm assuming we're talking about bad habits as far as motocross bad habits. And it's mostly body position. With beginners, most of them ride in the wrong way. Like standard good body position is arms up and out away from your bike, legs against the bike, butt back, and head forward. But with a lot of beginners, they ride with their elbows in, closer to body, not out. Just start studying photos. That's the best way. Look at all the photos of the best guys. Arms are up and out, heads forward, butts back. But with beginners, they tend to ride with their arms super close in. They like to bring their hips in or push their butt in where they rotate their hips forward to get it too far back. So when they stand up, instead of their butt rotating back, their hips rotate in. And it gives them like that goon look. You ever see somebody goon ride and like goof around? That's a lot of beginners get in. I rode that way. It's just when someone doesn't teach you the right way, it's so easily to get into that. So I think body position is one of the main things that when I'm working with students is usually what I'm trying to fix, especially with beginners. I'm always about getting in the right position. Get in that. I call it like it's the attack position. It's the ready position. You should be on the balls of your feet like an athlete. You shouldn't be riding in the arch of your foot. Be on the balls of your feet, butt back, head forward, arms out, with gripping the bike with your all the way from your ankles, not just your knees, all the way from where right where you touch your ankles, your calves, your knees should be not death grip unless you're going through the whoops, but a nice solid grip. And then learn how to ride with the relaxed up here in the bars. If you can be strong here, you can relax here. You want a death grip here because you can get tired in the lap because you're just holding on so tight. You need to learn how to ride relaxed. And that's another common thing with beginners. They ride tense and they fight the bike everywhere. You need to learn how to ride relaxed. You want to hold the bars, not death grip, like not loose to where they're going to fly at your hands, but you want to ride them relaxed. You don't need to death grip the bars. So you can control the bike down low and relax up top. So I would say, Mel's over here. She wants Mally to come say what up. She's got Mally. So this is Mally. You saying what up? Mel's in love with our dog, if you guys have not noticed. No. She's a good girl. Okay. Yes. Dog mom. She loves the dog. Yes, Keith, mad support from Pops. My dad's always been there. We grew up, like, we raced every weekend from the time that I was 9 years old all the way till I was graduating high school. We were every weekend. Unless I was hurt, we were at the races on the weekend. So I had a ton of support from my dad all through my race career, so which is really good because you need that. Racing's really tough. You got to people behind you for sure. And it's even probably harder these days than it was when I was growing up because of the level of where the guys are these days. Is unbelievable how fast the mini riders and the amateur riders go. They ride like pros. Like look at Deegan's son, Danger Boy. Dude's 12, 13 years old. No, he's 14 now, I think. I think he's a freshman in high school. Dude, the guy rides like he's a pro. He's sick. I mean, and that's just the level the kids are on. It's insane. So here we go. What else we got here? So we got questions. If you guys send in a question, just to help me, because I see tons of comments, throw a bunch of question marks after the question so I can try to pick them out. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just reading. I don't want to just read comments and you guys just stare at me. So that way I can find them easier, just to help me out a little bit. But let's see. Can you... Yeah, so we got the high vision. Can I do a video of your garage set up and show it off? Yes, I'm going to. So one of the things I want to do is just, because this page has become more personal with me, I've been trying to answer all you guys' comments every week. I get on the page at night or early in the morning, and I'll try to answer everybody's question. I want to make sure I'm getting back with you guys, connecting with you guys on these live Q&As. So it's becoming personal. So yeah, I'm going to do a whole tour. If you guys haven't seen the Where I Grew Up video, I did a video where I grew up in New Jersey. It's my Big Feist's house. And so now I'm here in Kansas at the moment, and so I'm going to do a little Kansas tour. I'm going to give you guys a tour of my house, give you guys a tour of the garage. Like, I don't have a big shop, but I got a garage, and I keep it super organized and keep it set up so it works for the bike stuff. But just so you guys can see what it's like now here in the Midwest and how I'm rolling. So yes, I will be doing a video and let you guys get a little sneak preview of what life looks like here in the Midwest. and how I'm rolling. So, yeah, I love the dog. The dog, yeah, my big fight said the grand dog. I know I got no kids yet, so we got the dog so far. It says, okay, so how can I get in touch with you on Instagram? Man, I don't want to mess your name up, but is it Ermin22? I ain't the best reader sometimes, but you can just DM me. Just DM me and title it with something that sticks out. But you can DM me. I look at my DMs, but I don't, because I get a lot comes in. So if you can like title it with something that will stand out, so I'll see it. Or maybe I just recognize your name. But if you DM me, I'll look for it. You can definitely DM me. What size shirts or hoodies do you wear? So this is Jeremy Tyler. I'd like to send you my Christian-based Moto merch. Well, sweet, Jeremy. I wear XL hoodie and a large tee just because I like my hoodies a little bit bigger, but I'm a large tee. So Jeremy Taylor, I appreciate the love. If you need an address, you can send it. If you go to ronniemail.com's me and my wife's ministry page, there's a P.O. box there. You can send it right to the P.O. box on there. So thank you, dude. I appreciate the merch. And that's another thing. Once we get the merch in and we get it launched, I want to do some giveaways and start doing some cool stuff like that. I got some old goggles I want to give away. I got some old jerseys, Rockstar jerseys when I rode for Rockstar the last couple years that I want to give away. I want to give some RFMX merch away. So we'll do that once we start getting things rolling here. We start doing these, and I just need to figure out cool ways to be able to do cool give outs for you guys. But I want to make sure I hook you guys up for hanging out with me and doing these live Q&As. So where did I get this sweatshirt? So this is from Damon Floyd. This is one of ours. This shirt will be available on ronnieandmel.com. That's our website. And you'll just be able to go to shop Ronnie and Mel, and it's just our merch. Like I said, me and my wife run a ministry, and then we're going to offer merch for a way for people to support the ministry. So we have a bunch of stuff coming out. We're actually trying to get both of the merch out by May 1st is the goal. So we might have it out by the end of April, but May 1st is like the latest. We're trying to get them both done. So it'll be shopronnieandmel.com, and I believe the RFMX stuff will probably just be rfmx.com or shop RFMX, and that'll just be moto stuff, and that'll be another place you guys can get signed up for the schools. You can pick a date and get signed up right online. So I'll be doing posts about that and letting all you guys know once we get close to that. All right, so tips, Steven. Tips for better jumping. Well, I guess I would kind of almost like to see where the weakness is in your jumping skill, but I feel like if I was just to point out what I see people do wrong a lot, especially for beginners, is a lot of times guys will power towards the jump, like I'm going to jump it, and then they get timid and then they shut off and they roll off the lip with no gas. That's a mistake you don't want to do. You don't want to leave the lip with no gas because your suspension's going to compress, and as soon as you leave the lip without power, the suspension is going to unload and buck you. So I've seen that happen a lot. I'm going. Oh, no, I'm not. I got timid and I backed out of the gas and it goes, whoa, and then it puts them in the endo. So that can happen. Or they're going for it. They're committed, but since they're timid, they lean back and they're not aggressive through powering through the jump. So they lean back and then they loop out. You want to take off for the jump just like you're racing everywhere else. I like to say lead the bike. Head's always forward. Start studying. That's the one thing that I like to tell students is study the pros. Go through Instagram, and when you're looking through Instagram and you're seeing photos and videos, especially photos because photos are cool because they're stock, but videos too. I watch all the top guys and watch where they're at, and they all ride this basically the same. Some guy, each guy has his little flavor, but at the end of the day, all the top dudes, head forwards, arms out, butt back, leading the bike. They're always leaning forward. So I like to look at photos and you could see dudes way up over the front end, head's always forward. So when you're coming off the jump, you should be rolling forward, compressing into the lip, powering off the lip, and then it's almost like you're gonna just go in and go out and you just roll with it. But then your body weight's gonna kind of unload with the suspension, but then you're gonna roll back forward. That way the bike lifts naturally and it's gonna dive from your body going in and out and then back forward. So you shouldn't be stabbing the back brake. Like people are like, I'm gonna jump and hit the back brake. That's like last resort. You only hit the back brake unless you have to because you looped out so bad. But you shouldn't have to jump jumps and slam on the back brake over every jump because your front end's too high. You need to roll your weight forward and adjust the bike naturally. You should be able to jump every jump and go and transition the bike from here to here. And that's all just transitioning your body. Going in, preloading off the lip, unloading with the suspension, and then rolling back forward towards the front of the bike, which is going to nose dive, and then you the transition of the jumps like this, and that's where you're going to land. Boom, back on the gas. So, a couple of little quick tips there on jumping. But make sure you're powering through the lip. Power off the lip unless you're trying to scrub something. But if you're just trying to learn for the first time, if you're learning for the first, let me give you this. If you're going to learn the jump on the front, don't pick a double. Don't pick a big double. If you're not comfortable jumping, pick a tabletop so it's safe. Don't pick a double and then you're super nervous, and if you're going to case the double, you could crash and get hurt. Pick a tabletop that where you can jump halfway, ride down. Jump 3/4 way, ride down, and then send it. That way it's safe. And just make sure you're coming at it with nice speed. And when you get to the lip, power through the lip. All the way through, all the way up the lip. And then just work your way up. You don't have to send it the first time if it's a tabletop. Jump to the middle, jump 3/4, jump all the way. So just do 3 steps. And I try to tell people, don't take a million runs at it and psych yourself out. It just gets in your head. If you're going to jump it and you know you're going to jump it, take 1-2 runs max and then go. Don't keep thinking about it. It's just going to make you more nervous. All right, so a couple tips on jumping there. All right. Let's see what we got here. When are we going to get down here? So that's my boy Braxton. I got to ride with Braxton. He's out in Utah. Me and him rode here in Kansas. Dude rips, dude. He throws pretty sick whips and stuff. So what up, Braxton? I don't know when I'm getting out to Utah. I'm going to be here for a little while, but I see you posting cool videos. I mean, I definitely need to get out there and rip with you one of these days. How can we send, so this is from Ryan. How can we send a talk privately about your and Mel's faith? They should be, just email info@ronnieandmel.com. If you email info@ronnieandmel.com, it'll go to us. We can talk privately. So that's for Ryan. Hit us up. We can talk about anything you need to talk about for faith type stuff. Who's your favorite OG rider? From Austin Hart. All right, so I'm going to go OG. My favorite, and I'm going to start with racing because when I was growing up, Rick Johnson was my favorite, all-time favorite, Rick Johnson. And then I really liked David Bailey because I went to Gary Bailey's motocross school. So I learned from that was his stepdad. So I learned from him. And I love David, but if my all-time favorite motocross racer would have been Rick Johnson because I grew up in the 80s. And then obviously McGrath came on the scene. Everyone liked McGrath. How could you not like MC? The King, so he was definitely someone that influenced me a ton as well. And then as far as freestyle, OG freestyle rider, I think I was inspired a lot by just the people that I was around because the sport of freestyle was so new and there was only so many guys that were kind of pioneer that. So there was guys like Hart and Deegan and Metz who were pushing it to new levels. So I was always inspired by those guys because they were always like coming up with new stuff. Like Hart was the first one ever to try a flip. Metzger was the first one ever to flip a ramp. He took one out to the sand dunes and started flipping it, and then he brought it back to his house and did it 5 times in a row. So then we were like, whoa, that can be done. And then like I think Deegan took it to the big ramp after that. And then Deegan started trying to do 360s. It was just like there was always people around me who were constantly pushing it. So those OG guys of the freestyle world just inspired me to keep trying to get better. And I was blown away that they even tried some of the stuff they did. Because I remember Deegan didn't have a foam pit to learn the backflip, and I learned it in a foam pit. I got to do it after Kerry Hart built his first foam pit. So me, Mike Sinkmars and Twitch went to Kerry Hart's house and got to try our first flips in a foam pit. Deegan didn't. I remember he piled up a bunch of wood chips out back and was like, yo, I'm going to do a backflip tomorrow. I'm like, all right. So we like rolled over there and dude, he didn't make any of them. He crashed like 3 in a row and he finally stopped trying them. But it was gnarly. He like bounced off the wood chips. I don't know how he didn't get hurt, but I was like, made me not want to do it. I was like, dude. So those dudes, some of those dudes did some gnarly stuff. Hart, I mean, we didn't even know it was even possible when he tried it. And then it wasn't until, I would say, until Metzger did the 5 at his house, because he took a popper ramp out to Glamis, set it up to a step up in the sand dunes, and I wasn't there that day, but supposedly did a bunch and landed them. Then he, like I said, he brought it back to his house. I remember him calling me and say, hey, I'm doing flips at my house in the morning, cruise over. And I cruised over, and he did 5 in a row off a 45-foot popper ramp and landed all 5 like nothing. And me and Twitch were there, and I looked at Twitch, and I'm like, we got to learn that. I'm like, because he just did it and made it look easy. So it was like, that changed the game. Like, once we saw like it was possible to do them consistently, we knew everybody in the sport had to learn it if we were going to stay competitive. So much respect for Metz, Hart, Deegan, all the OGs of the sport that took gnarly risk and did things without foam pits, and pretty crazy. Sports could be, it's so dangerous sometimes. All right, so I'm just kind of scrolling down. We got... So JD Marty said, how do you suggest to grow your media platform? I kind of touched on that earlier. I mean, it's really about being consistent and posting. The more you post, the more content you get out there, the more people start to see it. So I would just say, make sure you're on every platform and be consistent and post constantly. The more content, the better off you are. It's like content's king at the end of the day. So just keep posting. That's the best way. I mean, that's what I'm always trying to find content. You need to post. That's the deal. So what was my first sponsor? I always hear my dad say that, dude, the funny thing is when I grew up in New Jersey, in South Jersey, and Donald Trump owned the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, like 15 minutes from my house. My dad sent resumes out to everybody because we were trying to get sponsors. So I think one of my very first sponsors was like Trump. He sent us $500. So shout out to the president. He gave me $500 when I was like a mini rider. But my very, very first sponsor, and it wasn't like I was like no money. If you were talking about money sponsors, I'll tell you that in a second. But I had a local shop hooked me up, gave me a discount on bikes, gave me some parts. So that was called Fairway Honda, and it was in Somers Point, New Jersey. And I'm not 100% if they're sure there. I think my dad had just told me they might have just recently sold, but they were there forever, for years. But that was my first shop that ever helped me as a mini rider when I first got started. But my first real sponsor that actually paid me, I believe it was DVS Shoes or Split, because I went on the Warped Tour in what year was that? I moved to Cali in 97. 1998 was the first Warped Tour, and I went on that Warped Tour, and that's the first time I got paid to ride my bike. So I was working construction with Metzger's dad, digging cement footings for pools, and I got a chance to go on that tour. And it was only because of Metz. Metz was supposed to be on that tour, and he got hurt, and he couldn't do it. I don't know if anybody remembers when he was racing, and he got caught in the rear wheel of that dude at the Supercross, and he ripped his back apart. Well, Metz couldn't go on tour, and he's like, Faisst, take my spot. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, how do I know I'm in? He's just like, go to the first event and just show up. So I did. I just showed up at the first event, and Kevin Lyman's like, who's this dude? I'm like, I'm filling in for Metz. He's like, all right. But dude, it worked out. I got on the tour. Thank God for Mickey Diamond. He had my back. He was our tour manager. He got me on the tour and Metz. Those two dudes. And like I said, first time I ever got paid, and I came off that tour, and I actually picked up a couple sponsors, but I believe it was Split, DBS, and Flesh Gear. And they were like, and I think even Black Fly. So I picked up a couple right off that tour, because right after that tour in 1999, I went into X Games, and then from there it just blew up. But it was those 4 companies, and they were small little contracts, a couple $100 a month. But for me, who was doing construction, who moved out to California with nothing, I had $200 when I got to California. I was pumped. I'm like, dude, I just was working for $300 a week digging cement footings, and now I'm getting a couple $100 from like 4 different companies to jump my dirt bike. I was amped. So shout out DVS Shoes, Black Flies, Flesh Gear, and Split Clothing, because you guys helped boost my career in a major way. So my favorite place to free ride, this is from Randy Osborne. There's some good spots out in Cali. Sometimes I just like going out in the hills and just ripping. I don't know if you like Twitch always leaves from his house, but he has some pretty fun spots. So leave from Twitch's house, and we'll just go find tracks, and we just cut tracks up when it's really wet. That's always been fun because I like motoing. But as far as like jumps, probably best spot in Southern Cal is either Ritchie Canyon or Ocotillo Wells. If you want to find jumps, But the thing with those, you got to go after it rains. Like Cali's dry all the time. If you go out to Akatia Wells when it's dry, it's just hard as a rock and it's dusty. And if you're following 3-4 guys, you can't see nothing. So you got to hit it on a good day, and which is hard because sometimes it'll rain in Temecula where I live, and then you drive out to Akatia and it's still be dry and dusty. So it's kind of hard to time the rain there. But Ritchie Canyon, and dude, guys are still riding there. I see guys still posting a bunch of new jumps from that place. It's easy to time during the rain season because it's only 40 minutes from Temecula. So you can know if it rained in Temecula, it most likely rained in Ritchie. You can go out there, shovel jumps, and there's a lot of hits out there. So that place is probably one of the funnest places to find jumps. And then if you're into sand dunes, obviously you can't go wrong in Glamis. You just got to be careful though. Especially on the holiday weekends, there's a lot of people out there. So, and with all the UTVs now, it's super dangerous to be out there on dirt bikes. So you just, if you're gonna go out there, I always say go on an off weekend. Don't go Thanksgiving or Halloween because it's packed. It's so sketchy. There's people pinning it everywhere and drinking, and you're on a dirt bike. If they hit you, who's getting hurt? Not the guy in the UTV, you. So find those off days and go out to Glamis. But that place is sick though. Glamis is definitely sick. All right, so we got Richard here. Any metal militia events later this year that I'm still involved in? No, unfortunately, I don't do any more demos or anything, and I'm not really connected to the whole metal militia stuff anymore either. So I don't even know if what they're even doing. Like I know they're still trying to sell clothes, but I don't know like what's really going on with them, and I don't do no shows with them anymore. So, you know, unfortunately, probably, I'm not going to ride any more demos, man. I'm too old. I'll be riding the track. If you want to come watch me ride, you got to come out to the local track and ride with me. I'm just doing laps these days. I went back to the roots, but actually just got a ramp set up at my buddy's house out here, and I hit it last week, and it seriously was so fun that I'm getting some stiff suspension, and I'm going to just start polishing off a couple old tricks that I used to do for fun, just because I love doing tricks. I'm doing a couple. I'm not doing nothing gnarly. I'm not doing flips. I'm not doing anything that I don't want to get hurt anymore. I've been through all that. I just want to have fun. So I'm going to learn to get my whips back, a couple turn downs, kiss of death, lazy boy, a couple easy things just to enjoy being on the ramps. I mean, it's hard to like never, just to stop and never jump a ramp after you've done it for 20 years. Like I missed it. Like, and when I finally got a chance to hit one last week, I was like, pumped. I'm like, man, I haven't hit a ramp so long, and I jumped it like 3 times, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no wonder I loved what I did. It's so fun. Ramps are sick. Okay, so Jeremy Hurst is asking, did I sell my old bike? If you're asking about the 2016 Husqvarna, no, but I did have a guy hit me up actually today that was interested. But I still have it, so if you're looking for a bike, DM me. I still got it. Super clean. There's low hours on it. And I just redid the whole thing, so it's all my bikes are sick. None of my bikes are junk. They're good. All right, sweet. Do anything to come right with you? So we got Lamb here. Lamb, is that how I say it? He said, I'd do anything to come ride with you. How do I do that? Man, I don't know. Come out here to Kansas. I'm ripping the local track, so anyone's welcome. I'll ride with anybody, dude. I love riding. So if you're ever out here in the Midwest, we got a couple cool local tracks, and that's where I ride. Midwest Extreme, Kingsville, and Adrenaline Moto Complex. They're the 3 local tracks out here, and they're all super fun. So if you ever want to come out to the Midwest and rip one of those tracks, you'll probably see me there. All right, so High Vision, how old were you when you bought the Temecula house? Man, I don't even know, to be honest with you. I owned it for about 15 years, so now you're going to make me try to do math. So it's definitely in my 20s, right? Somewhere in there. You made me try to see how good my math skills are. But I bought it pretty early. I bought my first house in Corona, and then I sold that house, saved my money, bought the house on land. And I lived there for like 15 years. So I was in that house for a long time, but that house is sweet. I actually sold it to a race family. They built a supercross track. I don't know, you guys probably seen it online. I mean, Danger Boy rides there. I know Deegan has posted some videos from there, but they built a full supercross track there. So pretty sick, pretty cool that someone's still using it for the moto life, but poor neighbors, right? The racers are out there now. It's pretty quiet with freestyle guys. We just burp, we're up, and then ride back. Burr, 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 but when you get racers out there, it can get noisy. So hopefully the neighbors are hanging in tough. But everyone in that neighborhood was cool. We had Mike, big shout out, Hickson across the street. He was a cool dude. So we got my wife on here now. I see her, Ronnie and Mel. She's hanging. Big fights. Who else? Fairway Cycle. It's $1. That was my dad saying that. Dollar store. That's too funny. So I guess they sold. I guess they're out of here. So what else we got? So we got Ben was like being sponsored by Black Flies. I mean, Black Flies was a crazy company back then, but I mean, it was cool. I feel like I had like when I first moved out to California, I had a lot of like the cool companies. I had Flesh Gear was the maker of the dudes who made Krusty. They were the dudes that came out with Flesh Gear, so it was like a perfect sponsor because I got to go on all the film trips with those guys. Anytime they were doing a film trip, of course they're going to send the dude who wears their gear. So it was sweet. And those dudes are fun. Like Dana Nicholson, Johnny Freeman, those dudes were super cool. And all the dudes from Black Flies, they're all from Huntington. I lived down at the beach, and they were just, they used to be, like Dana Nicholson was a pro snowboarder, and Freeman used to film all the snowboard videos, and then they came over to Moto after Dana had retired and stuff and started doing moto videos. But super fun guys to hang out with. Black Fly was a bunch, and all those dudes were crazy, but good times back in the day for sure. So we got Aaron. What is the best place to ride near Palm Springs? Maybe Ritchie Canyon. I don't know how far Ritchie Canyon is from Palm Springs. So that might be out that way. Or if Palm Springs, yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure on that one because I don't know exactly how far Palm Springs is from Ritchie Canyon. Or Beaumont. Beaumont has cool spots, so maybe check out those spots. Beaumont or Ritchie Canyon. So, yeah, I-49, there's Brian. That's the other track where the ramp's set up. So how old? So we got Alex, how old was I when I met Twitch? Man. I know him Twitch forever. I'm trying to think. I don't remember what year I met him, but I know I don't even know if he was 18 yet. He was a young buck. But it was a long time ago. It had to be, I'm trying to think because I remember him rolling up. I have this funny memory of him because I lived with Deegan when I first moved to California. So me and Deegan loaded up and we went, it had to be 1998. So we'll do the math. I'm 43, turning 43, 1998, whatever that turns out to be. I had to be 21 or so, because I moved to Cali when I was 20 in 1997. So I was probably 21. Twitch is four years younger than me, so figure that. Yeah, so what was he, 16, 17, 16 years old. He rolled, so me and Deegan roll up. They're doing a contest in Orange County, and me and Deegan rolled up, and Twitch rolled up, and it was when we first kind of met him. But I just remember he like rolls up, and he's like, "What up?" And Twitch was he's still the same dude he's always been, and he fixed his teeth now, but he used to have the big jacked up teeth. But he was super skinny back then. But he's like, "Yo," he's like, "I just got hooked up with a factory bike, dude. I got a factory ride from Honda." And we're like, me and Deegan are like looking over. I'm like looking at his bike. We're like, factory, huh? It's like bone stock bike from the dealership, stock pipe on it. Still got the warning stickers. And we're like, factory? Like, dude, this thing looks like bones. Oh, I thought I unplugged it for a second. Sorry. Bone stock bike, dude. But I was just always remember, like, dude, this guy is a clown. We were dying. But we clicked off like super from the beginning. Like, Twitch just clicked with us. He was one of those dudes, just like Lus. When you met Twitch, felt like you'd known the dude for a lifetime, and so we got along super good. The dude's never changed. He's like, well, go to his channel, Twitch this. He's still talking crap whatever, how old he is now. He's like late 30s now. He's never changed. He kills me. But we hit it off, so I've known him for a long time. We were kids when we met. All right, so Jeff said, what made you guys move out to Kansas? Change the scenery? Yeah, I was retiring, and there was a big church my wife was a part of at that time, and or before we got married. So we ended up coming out here, and yeah, it was a huge change for sure. Leaving California, coming to the Midwest, freezing here in the winter. But there's things that we love about it, but then there's things that we miss about California. So, I mean, I love how green it is. It's beautiful here. I love that it's not crazy congested and smoggy and expensive and busy like California. But at the same time, I don't have the relationships here that I had in California, and that's the one thing I miss the most. I miss my friends more than anything. And at the end of the day, moto scene here can't compare to California moto scene. Like, it's cool. I'm grateful I have some tracks to ride, but those tracks aren't open every single day. Like in Cali, there's a track open every single day. You can ride any day of the week, and you can ride with, you know, multiple top riders in the world, whether it's freestyle or racers. There's just so many people out there. So here it's that's the things I miss most about Cali is the riding, the weather, because I love the sun and the warm weather, and my friends. So one of those things, you know, definitely miss it, but I do like some stuff about Kansas, but I don't like the winter. Hate the winter. It felt like I was trapped in the house. That's why I was all pumped it got warm, then it got cold out again. I'm like, Lord help me. Stuck in the house again. So it says, JD Martin, who are you the closest to in the dirt bike community, Deegan, Twitch, etc.? I would say right there, Deegan, Twitch, and Taka are my three best friends. They're like brothers, like especially all three of them. I'm not even going to put one above the other. Those three dudes have been my tightest. I've lived with all of them. Moved out and moved in with Deegan. Lived with him for years. So I bought my own place. And then when I first bought my place, Twitch moved in with me. And then he eventually bought his place. And then when Taka came from Japan, he lived with Twitch for a minute. And then he moved in with me. And then he lived with me until he saved his money to buy his place. So it's like all of us have like lived together, trained together, rode together, traveled together. They're like family. I like love all three of those dudes. So they're the three. I mean, I got a ton of friends, but if those are three dudes that have been the closest to me. But I got lots of friends, you know, cool. Potter's always been out there. He's always been a part of the guys. And there's just I could start naming a gazillion people. But there'd be the three dudes that I was the closest to, still am the closest to, still call, still talk to, like as if I never left California. Mel's coming back in.
There's a super chat, so just make sure you thank him for it and he asked a question. So.
Oh, wait, where did I see it?
It's probably down, it's bright blue.
How do I see it? Okay, cool. All right, we got a little super chat from Aaron. Mel's helping me out. Didn't want to miss you, but thank you. And let's see. What happened to the FF scene and why did it die? Well, I don't know if it's I wouldn't say it completely is dead. I just think it had a really, you know, it was just really exciting in the beginning, you know. Everything was new. No one's seen it. So I think that was really exciting for the sport, for everything to be the first time. And then over time, I think it started to plateau for a little bit. But I think what did hurt it a little bit, we lost some guys too along the way, and I think that scared promoters. Like there was guys crashing and passing away, and I think some promoters were like, "Whoa, you know, I don't want someone coming to my event and dying." So I don't think that helped the sport. I think that kind of put a little fear, not just in the riders, where we're like, "Whoa, people are dying doing what we do. This is crazy." So I think that was a time when it started to plateau a little bit because riders were kind of like, "Well, we need to back it down a little bit and like." Stay alive. And the promoters might have pulled back a little bit, but then you had another wave of riders come in after us that started pushing it again, and it took it up. And I mean, look where it's at now. The level of the sport is gnarly. Like I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm retired now and I don't have to do what these guys have to do. I don't think there's as many events as there used to be. There's definitely not the sponsorship dollars isn't where it was either. I think the earlier guys had probably tasted the best of that, and it's kind of flattened off a little bit, which is crazy because the levels up here and some of the sponsorship dollars are a little bit lower than they were for some of the guys. But I think what another thing makes it tough for freestyle, it takes a certain group of people for freestyle, and I think for any sport to continue to grow and progress is you need amateur ranks. Like in motocross, there's the pros and there's the amateurs. And so you constantly have amateurs coming through the ranks. It's a family sport too. So I think it's easy for the families to put their kid in the racing and go to the weekends with them and do a family thing and put them through the amateur ranks and push them in the pros. But for freestyle, there ain't no amateur ranks. Like you just have to become a pro and show up and get noticed, which is hard. There's nowhere to practice. If you don't have land and a ramp, you can't go to the local track and just show up like if there's no ramp. So it makes it hard to have a place to practice, hard to learn it. Most parents probably don't want to put their kid in there because they're like, man, that's dangerous. I don't want my kid doing like backflips and things that are just super dangerous. So it makes it hard to get that constantly have a fresh batch of young talent coming through. So I think that's hurt the sport. It's just tough. Freestyle is a tough sport. It takes a certain type of rider, and there's just not a whole lot of them. If you look how long the sport's been around and count the top pros in the sport over the last 20 years, very slim when you look at how many racers there is and compare it. It's not even close. So thank you, Aaron, for the little donation there. Appreciate it. And hopefully we can help keep freestyle alive and it doesn't die, because it is a cool sport. It is a cool sport, and it's a lot of fun. And what's cool about freestyle is not everybody's a racer. Racing's so hard, and not everyone's going to be able to make it in racing. But freestyle gives the riders another way to make a living on their dirt bikes. At the end of the day, you love to ride, you love dirt bikes, whether it's racing the track, doing laps, or doing tricks. And freestyle was another way that guys like me, who didn't get a factory rider, didn't get a support rider, didn't make it in the race world, were able to focus on another thing and get good and make a living. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to ride my dirt bike. It didn't matter if I was going to be a racer or a jumper. Just wanted to ride. So that's why I love freestyle, because it's another way for people to do what they love. So I don't want to see the sport die. And I'm down to do freestyle lessons. I just don't think there's a big draw for it. I would teach anyone how to do tricks. If anyone wants to learn how to do tricks, I'll teach you. You got a ramp? Dude, let's go learn tricks. I love to teach you. But I think more people, there's a more draw for people who need to just learn the basic fundamentals of riding. Good body foundation, good basics, solid foundation, throttle, clutch, smooth, all the basics of riding than there is that probably want to learn tricks. So most of my classes and schooling is going to be going towards just riding techniques. But you want to learn freestyle? I'll teach you. I'm not against it, dude. I learned a lot, and there's a way and a tip for every single trick that takes you years to figure out sometimes. You will learn a trick and you'll figure out what is that one thing that makes that trick easier. What was the one thing? And I've learned those, and I can share those with people that'll help you pick up those tricks 100 times faster than I did, because I had to figure that out on my own. Now I know I can give that tip to you. It'll help you learn tricks faster. If you're into learning tricks. Not everybody wants to learn tricks, but it's fun. I love hitting the ramp. All right, so you got a question. He says, I have a question. Scott Taylor's got a question for Deegan. Is Deegan on here? Well, hit him up. Maddox, that's my boy. So Maddox, I help this dude out, little Maddox here. He said, you need to come back out to my track. So me and him, we work out. We ride together. I can help him with riding techniques and stuff. Super cool kid. So a little shout out to him and his dad, Jeremy. Actually, that's where I'm going to be doing some of the motor schools, is at his track. His dad, Jeremy's going to let me do it out there. So big shout out to Maddox. And he's been improving a ton. He's got a track at his house. He's practicing. And that's one thing that I tell these guys is, man, if you want to get better, you got to practice. That's how you get better. You practice. It's like anything. You need to buckle down and put in the work. And you do it over and over again. That's why I learned the basics, get the solid foundation, and then do it every single day. Keep working on it, working on it, working on it. It's the only way to get better at anything in life. You just got to keep doing it. It's repetition. Repetition is your best friend in freestyle and in moto. You keep doing it and keep doing it the right way. Break those bad habits. Get it down the right way, and it becomes muscle memory. And then your brain gets out of the picture. When you're learning something, the brain's involved because you're thinking through it. But once you know the technique and have mastered it, the brain leaves, and it's all it is you're not thinking about putting your head here or listening to this and weighting the peg or this, that. Or if it's a trick, you're not thinking, oh, I got to move my hand here and I got to tuck my head and push. No, it's all boom. It's like when you're racing, you're thinking about speed and lines. When you're doing freestyle, all you're doing is you call the trick out in your head and you hit the ramp and it comes off like a boom, like pulling the trigger, pow. You don't think the 4 or 5 things that you had to think through when you learned it. So that's one thing I like to tell people. Get out there and just get to work. Practice. That's how all the best dudes got where they are, through practice. Practice, practice, practice. So here we go. Do I still get paid when you retire in moto? I don't. I mean, some guys may, but I don't. I don't have any sponsors at the time, so I'm not getting paid as a retired people. I don't know if everybody does, but I'm sure some guys do, you know? Because what's cool about today is if you have a big following on social media, you can still get paid. So they might not be paying you to compete anymore, but they'll pay you because you have a big following. So I'm sure some guys are still getting checks, but at the time, I do not have any sponsors. Someone's laughing about Dave Dawes here. We got High Vision. Dave Dawes uploaded your freestyle rap video. I'm going to have to go check that out. I haven't seen it. Freestyle rap. Well, I wonder, was it from when me and Nate rapped at it was for, I think it was for Lust. What was the Freestyle Awards in Paula Casino? Me and Nate did a remix of Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, but we called it Riding Twice Daily. So it was pretty funny. Me and Nate Adams. Riding twice daily. Da-na-na-na-na-na. It was sweet. All right, so what else we got? So, who's Ronnie Mac? Underground, dude. Everybody wants to know, huh? That's from Jeremy. What else? How much coin do energy drink sponsors on average? Wait, how much coin do energy drink sponsors on average or roughly? So Jason Smith, how much? So that's different. If you're asking how much energy drinks pay each rider, it's completely different for each rider. So some guys might have a contract small as 25 grand, but then some other dude might have $1 million contract, $400, $500,000, $300, $100,000. It's all across the board. It all depends who you are, how big your following is, what you're doing, what event you're at. Are you on the podium or not? Are you winning consistently? Are you the guy in the spotlight all the time? Those things will dictate how much that company is going to pay you. It's all about who you are, how big of your draw is, how much product are you able to sell for them. So every guy's different. And like I said, they can go from as little as, I'm sure guys probably even have smaller than 24,000. But I remember guys that did have $24,000 deals, and I knew dudes that had $1 million deals too. So it's all across the board. How many? Betty says, how many energy drinks do I have to do a backflip? I actually never used to. I rode for rocks for all those years. I never really used to drink them. I was actually really healthy during my moto career. Was pretty strict on what I drank. I drink some now. My wife yells at me. All right, so here we go. We got. Do you still have the gold tooth? No. I took it out years ago. I had that from Kevin. Jason Ellis stole my deal, though. Jason Ellis got the gold tooth now. He took my style.
I'm glad you don't have the gold tooth.
Yeah, she's my wife is saying she's glad I don't have a good tooth. All right, so here we go.
Wait, I have things to say. So Deegan starts in like less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
People might go. So maybe wrap it up. But
Okay.
Tell them thank you. Tell them.
Yeah. All right, so wifey's she's filling me in on stuff. So I'm going to ask her one more question. Deegan's going live in like 5 minutes. He starts here in the next 5 minutes. So I know a lot of you guys are following Deegan's page, and you want to jump over there and say what up to him. We've already been on here for almost an hour. So I asked her one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. But thank you guys for being on here. I'll keep doing this every other week. If I don't do every other week, at least once a month. I'm going to try every other week, and I'm going to keep posting. Like I said, look forward for the how-to series. I'm going to be doing all different types of how-to videos. Help you guys with your rider techniques. Look for the merch, and we'll see you on the next one. So let's wrap it up. One more. Who do we got here? So 120. So someone's asking 120. What gear on a 252 stroke? So the 120-foot gap on a 252 stroke is third. So, and it's on the gas on the 252 stroke. So third gear, you're going for it. 120-foot gap. So, all right, we'll end it with that. And that was I just lost his name. Zoro Stunt. So be careful on the 120, dude. Big jump. Have fun. And all right, guys, thanks again for being here for the live Q&A. We'll see you guys on the next one. Boom.